beautiful surroundings of Boodles on Grafton Street.
Dublin. I'm normally based in London. I'm the London designer. So I look after London stores, which there are 5.
It's just really a recap on my story and where I've come from and how I ended up as personal stylist. The most incredible woman that you can imagine. She was beyond elegant and glamorous, and when she would walk into a room, she would stop the room because she took so much time to invest in herself. Put your best clothes on, put your wig on. Like I went for my wig when I still had a full head of hair, so that when I could compare the wig versus my own hair, it would look as good as my hair. And I always advise women, whoever going through treatment, don't realise their own value. I think a lot of people kind of, they need to grow in confidence. I feel when we're in the change room with them, we're bringing them up, but I think that people don't have enough consideration for their value in this world. I think we're all very hard on ourselves, men and women.
I don't even have to introduce her. Everybody knows her incredible edit, and you have become like a massive influencer online and selling your incredible brands, and you just, like, I feel like you've exploded. So thank you for your time this evening. I know you say no to everything and you don't know why you said yes to this, but let's force people to come. But thank you for your time this evening. So I can't wait to hear your story.
Oh, thank you. Just before I start, thank you so much for having me. And like, honestly, this is such an honour. I feel like a complete imposter standing up here, but I'll try my best. So my name is Laura. For anyone who doesn't know me, I have a brand called LNH Edit, and we have a gorgeous new little cottage in Goatstown where our head office is, and inside is like a little treasure trove of all things homeware and fashion, and everything in there my heart and soul has gone into. So how I got there, take me back, left college, and I decided to go and work with my mom for all of, I said, a summer. I was like, Mom, I'm giving you 2 weeks. And 11 and a half years later, I left. And when I left, I was creative director at that stage. My mom's brand was Fran and Jane, and she'd Regine before that. And my mom is probably, again, the most inspirational woman to me. She's the hardest working person I've ever met, and she definitely taught us how to graft, which I'm so grateful for. So I left Fran and Jane and loved my time there. However, anybody who has worked in a family business will know in a family business you are run ragged. It's the only words for it. I mean, like, it was actually ridiculous, the amount of responsibility I had at a young age. I look back just thinking you're actually really irresponsible. At the same time, I'm so grateful because I learned so much from my time there. But fast forwarding then, I went into Pennies, into Primark. I was only there briefly. I loved my time there. It was actually the first time I had a job that I just did my actual job. I wasn't on the phone to like solicitors and HR, and I wasn't like solving like major issues worth millions. It was lovely going into a job and just getting to create things and just do what I was asked to do. So that was great, but with Primark I had a young family, and I'm that type of person who I give everything. So I was giving literally Primark more than I was giving my family. And they were young, like my children were young, and as much as I loved it, they didn't love it. And I grew up in a house where both my parents were entrepreneurs. They both had their own businesses, they were both big, and my mom was never that mom at the school gate. I don't resent her for it whatsoever. She did what she did to give us the life that we had, but it's not one that I wanted to do for my kids. I just wanted to be there at the school gate. It sounds so stupid, but that was my aim. So just left Primark, and literally the same week that I left Primark, I got the news. It was actually about 2 weeks. I got the news that I was expecting my third baby. Absolutely thrilled, and I found out that I was BRCA positive. So BRCA positive, for anybody that doesn't know, is basically the cancer gene, the Angelina Jolie gene, as everybody knows it. So that hit us with like a ton of bricks. I'm a really positive person though, so through my pregnancy there was absolutely nothing I could have done. So I just stayed strong, full on, but the stress was really building inside me, even though I had this really brave face on, I always would do. And Toby arrived healthy baby, but he was 7 weeks early, and I was thinking, God, like 7 weeks is quite early, you know. My obstetrician was like, that was your stress inside, probably just, you know, that's what happened. So Toby arrived, and when Toby was 10 weeks old, so usually when you have the BRCA gene, you're either, it increases the chance of you getting breast cancer or ovarian cancer, and it usually tells your family history will guide as to usually which one you're going to get. So ovarian cancer, unfortunately, was the one that was quite prevalent in my family. So we, having had 3 children, I was so lucky. You know the way you say everything in this world happens for a reason? Like, I got engaged when I was 24, my husband was 10 years older than me. I remember like all my friends going like, what is she doing? Like, is she an absolute raving lunatic? Like, child bride. But it just felt right to me. I was like a creative director at that stage in the company. We had like 200 employees. Like, I was always so much older. And I think that was someone up there looking out for me, you know, that kind of made me do that. And all of that then saved me. Sorry. So Toby arrived, and because ovarian cancer was the prominent one in our family, I had a hysterectomy, my ovaries, oophorectomy, fallopian tube, cervix, everything removed when he was 10 weeks old, and then I had a 2-year-old and a 4-year-old at home as well. So it was quite a challenging time, to say the least. But it was, do you know what, the one thing that stands to me is, or the one thing that kind of resonates with me through that whole time, like the hardest thing about that whole journey was I just wanted to find somebody who had been through the same thing as me and was actually able to still function. I read horror stories. I can't remember that book I read. Anyway, I'm glad I can't remember because I don't but absolute horror stories. And I was like, this can't be true. Like, and if this is true, I'm gonna, like, you know, that thing where, what's the phrase where if someone knocks you down, or if someone says you can't do it, like, do it twice and take the picture. So that was my mission. I was like, on that, I'm just going to prove all of this wrong. So I opened up my Instagram and I decided that I was going to share this journey. Should anybody else be in the same situation, that I could be the person that they could say, oh yeah, she's actually doing okay, and I was going to prove all these books wrong and everything, and I was just going to be fine. So I opened up my Instagram, and like, when I look back, I'm like, oh my God, who is that? I was so vulnerable. There's so much of me that just wants to delete it, because I'm like, oh, it's gone. But it's not gone, and I'm so glad it's there, because every day I did have to turn off my messages on Instagram because I was just getting into every BRCA person in the country. And I was just getting too heavily involved in everybody's journeys, and I've shared mine, and as much information is there as possible, but it was just too much. But I'm so glad I did share it, and with that then, it sounds mad, but with all that time on my hands, I realised actually it kind of put life into perspective, and it just gave me a new outlook on what I wanted to do. And I was thinking, if I have overcome this, I can absolutely make a career that I want to do that's going to work under my terms. So the idea of LNH came into my head. I've always wanted to do my own thing, but I wanted a business that would work around my family. So they're my priority, and I'm at the school gate every day. Julie, who works with me, is there, and she's probably like, oh my God, she's there too much. We need to rein her in. But that's why I said I say no to so many things, because I suppose the whole journey of LNH is based around like my experiences, and I've been that person who's been burnt out in Fran and Jane, and we said yes to everything. And we were concessions in Brown Thomas, and we were stored down in Kildare Village, and we'd 220 people working for us, and it was full on, and I worked 365 days a year. I totally burnt out. So now I say no to everything, and unless, do you know, that kind of warm fuzzy feeling, unless I get that, so maybe I got that from unless I get a warm fuzzy feeling, that's the only way I say yeah. So my journey didn't end there. I had to have a double mastectomy then, which I did, which sounds kind of mad, but that side of things was actually kind of easier because it was a physical surgery as opposed to having your ovaries and everything removed. You feel probably a bit more emotionally attached to it. I felt like that was a tougher journey. But I recovered well, and as soon as I was better and my family were kind of ready, I launched LNH. But it felt weird because it was in the middle of COVID, and I think loads of people were, loads of businesses were launching, and it was just I felt like it was just going to get lost. But encouragement from friends and family, we pursued and went on with it, and I thought I had bought enough stock for a season. We sold out in 3 days, and I think it was actually in Primark. Some girls here from Primark, they'd say to you, "You're a really bad buyer." You never win. Like, if you don't buy enough, you're brutal. If you buy too much, you're brutal. But it was a really good start. And I would say, like, LNH is still in its infancy in a business, and it sounds a bit funny being here, like maybe giving people advice on, or I get asked a lot of business advice, and it feels funny even doing that because LNH is so young. But would I say it's a success? No, not yet. Like where I wanted to go, but by still remaining the same mum and still staying where I am at home. I want it to be, much bigger and much more successful. But are we off to a good start? We're off to a great start. And there's a few people and things that I think that have made that happen. For Julie's here, so honestly, Julie was the first person I went to when I was like, okay, this is what I want to do. Julie runs all our social media, which I think it all agree is like half of what LNH is, because she just does the most amazing job with it, and it wouldn't be half of what it is without her. My poor husband. Oh my God, I don't know what I'd do without him, but he is just a saint. Like, honestly, he's a saint. He sent me this graph or this picture the other day, and it was of an iceberg. And you could see the top of the iceberg was about 10%, and then below it was like 95%. And he was like, see that 95%, where like 80 of that is me. Like, he brings all our stuff to the skip. I thought he was sending me this, being like, you are deadly. That's me. I was like, yeah, okay, sorry. He's like, you're that person with the pretty bits on top. He's doing all the he's not actually. He actually has a real job. He doesn't work with me, but. But all joking aside, like the little iceberg that everybody sees and the plain sailing, there has been days that it's just, honestly, we're on our hands and knees, like packing boxes. It all started literally at my kitchen table, and it's just grown, and it's great, and we absolutely love it, but with it comes so much hard work. The best thing about it is it's all under my own terms. I can still be at the school gate. Nothing that I do isn't with my kids at the forefront, and I love the flexibility of it and just being able to take it wherever I wanted to go. Speaking of which, Julie and I are off to India on Saturday, so like launching the company through COVID. Thank God for the experience that I had, because trying to find like suppliers and everything it was quite difficult, but actually I've become such good friends with them because everything was on FaceTime. So what you usually would have done, and like Fran and Jane days or whatever, would have gone on a buying trip, you would have met your suppliers, you would have had a meeting, you would have been there for a week, and you would have left, and then it would have been email. Whereas now I talk on FaceTime nearly every day. So I'm at birthday parties with our suppliers in India and everything, and it's just wonderful. And I don't deal with any factories, everything is just artisan. Like, if we go in and out of stock all the time, we drive people mad, but that's the way they work, and they work around their families too. And yeah, it's just been a lovely journey, but hopefully it's got a long way to go.
Yeah, I know. And I feel like we're still only kind of at the beginning of our journey, and again, we have the flexibility that it's our families are very important to us, and that we can work around that. Mum Talks, we launched our new website last week, which with our new branding, and I hope you've seen it. The main thing behind what we're doing is to inspire, support, and connect mums and women. And I hope this evening that you can walk out of here and you feel a little bit connected, inspired, and that you've had a nice evening amongst lovely, amazing women. So from myself and Lucy, thank you so much for taking the time out and joining us. To the Boodles team and to our incredible speakers, thank you.